So I usually attach and so, that would be again, was
Okay, call to order. Be resolved that the agenda for the August 16th, 2022 meeting be accepted as presented. Councilor Hargreaves, seconder, Councilor McGregor. All in favor? Carried. Be resolved that the minutes of the July 19th, 2022 regular meeting of council be hereby approved as circulated. Second by Councilor Corey. The errors or omissions? All in favor? Be resolved that the minutes of the August 2nd, 2022 special meeting of council be hereby approved as circulated. Please move that. Councilor McDonald, seconder. Councilor Hatch. Any errors or omissions? All in favor? Be resolved that the August 11th, 2022 general accounts payable being checks number 5863 to 5903 in the amount of $768,729.26 be hereby approved. Please move that. Councilor McGregor, second Councilor Soya. Discussion. All in favor? Be it resolved that direct deposit 224 being staff payroll for the period July 11 to July 22, 2022 in the amount of $17,182.36 be hereby approved. So please move that. Councilor Corey, second Councilor McDonald. Discussion. All in favor? Be resolved that direct deposit 225 being staff payroll for the period July 25th to August 5th, 2022 in the amount of $18,202.12 be hereby approved. Sorry, please move that. Councilor McGregor, seconder. Councilor McDonald. Discussion. All in favor? Resolved that direct deposit 226 being council indemnity for the month of July 2022 in the amount of $5,265.94 be hereby approved. Please move that. Councilor Hatch, second Councilor Hargreaves. Discussion. All in favor? Utility accounts, we have resolved that the August 11th, 2022 utility accounts payable being checks number 901 to 907, the amount of $8,165.90 be hereby approved. Please move that. Councilor Corey, seconder. Councilor McGregor. Discussion. All in favor? Be resolved that the statement of revenues and expenditures report to July 31st, 2022 be received as presented. Please move that. Councilor McDonald, seconder. Councilor Hatch, discussion. All in favor? Be resolved that the bank reconciliation for the month of July 2022 be approved as previously circulated. Please move that. Councilor McGregor, seconder. Councilor McDonald, discussion. All in favor? Okay. Delegations. So.
We do. And the delegation is in attendance. So Peter, if you would want to do a presentation to council.
Okay, thank you.
And following which, if council's got any questions, they can ask that of you before they go into decision mode.
Okay. My name is Peter Kabelik, and I am from Beausejour, Manitoba. And I'm here on behalf of my family to help a friend. I presented a letter to, I guess, council on August 16th with Joni Swidnicki here. I dropped it off. And if you didn't get it or read it yet, I'd just like to read it out. It's to members of council, R.E. Halter Property, Nesbitt, Manitoba. I, Peter Kabelik, at this point in time will take full financial and legal responsibility to ensure the house on the Halter property in Nesbitt is affixed to foundation and all water and sewer requirements met by no later than, I put a date of August 1st by next year. I don't know if that's an acceptable date or not. My request to council is that no further action be taken at this time. And I just addressed it myself in Beausejour, Manitoba. I've known Lisa Halter, the family, our family and her family, known each other for quite some time. I've known Lisa personally for over 30 years. And where we come from, we help neighbors. I'm in a financial position where I can be able to help out Lisa. And I'm not quite sure exactly what the situation was and how it got to this point with her house being put on that property at the Nesbitt property. But I am, on behalf of my family here, willing to step up and ensure that everything moves forward. I'm willing to take all kinds of legal and financial responsibility with your assistance. Of course, I can't do this by myself. I don't know what the requirements are in the RM of Oakland-Wawanesa. I don't know what process needs to be taken, but I am here to work. If I've been given the opportunity to work with you people, I'll work under your guidance and your assistance, and I'll follow all protocols that need to be followed and time requirements that you expect me to follow and do at certain times. That's all I can say. I'm just here for basically, to get some kind of help, so I can move forward and ensure that her investment gets followed through, gets put on the property. She can move on with her life here in this part of the world, and we can go back farming, and we can be good neighbors back home.
Mr. Kevin, do we know the costs that you're looking at? Have you put that into?
Well, we've done some kind of research as far as what it would cost with contractors, just short term, because I didn't really have a lot of time to actually put a plan on paper, because when I stepped in, it was short term. I've talked to people. And first of all, there's not too many contractors that are willing to actually just step up to the plate immediately. I mean, people are planning for next year. They're finishing off projects now that can be that carry them right into the freeze up. So what I'm doing here is that I'm aware of what needs to get done. The exact dollar figure, I have a rough idea. Will it get paid for? Yes. Am I taking responsibility? Yes. Is the house going to be complete? Yes. And then you'll be happy.
Councillors, anybody have some questions? Go ahead, Councillor Miller.
Mr. Chairman, just a few questions I have is, like, you're talking the standard of the house, like foundation, sewer and water, new windows, siding.
Well, I'm not sure. The windows are brand new in there. Brand new sliders. I took a visual inspection because I wasn't quite aware. Well, I was aware of the house because I've been in the house prior to being moved here. Am I aware of the condition of the house? Well, the standard of the house is going to be up to the building inspector, because there has to be an inspection of the property, correct? So what happens is that anything that's required by law will be made sure that will be done. The sewer, the water, I will follow I'm proposing that I would step up and put the development permit on my name, follow through with the people from the Oakland-Wawanesa to say that this is what needs to get done, and I'll do it. Then the building permit, by securing the building on the foundation properly and having a building inspector inspect it to say that this is legal and this is the way it's supposed to be, that will get done. And for sewer and water, there has to be permits and there has to be proper protocol. But what happens is that we will present that to the contractor, and the contractor will get the work done, because I'm not the contractor. I'm just trying to work with you to say that, okay, look, you will give me so much time. This is the first stage that needs to get done. We need to have this in place before we move forward. I get the permit or whatever it was on my name. I'll search out the contractor to get that work done. And then I'll come up to you and say, okay, Mr. McDonald, what do I do next? And then we move forward because I'm not in the contracting business. I'm in the farming business.
Well, I understand that. My concern is, even if you put it on a foundation and it's got water and sewer, and all of a sudden, you know, it doesn't look any different than it does for the community, that's where my concern is, I guess. Is there any assurance that it would be?
If there's any requirements to pick it up to the standard of what the community is, I'll ensure that gets done. My biggest concern right now for Lisa and her family is that we discussed it back home before we came here, is to first of all be given the opportunity to move forward and ensure that everything is done, the sewer and water and the building on the foundation, and then if it needs a lick of paint, we'll do it.
Can you tell us what contractor you talked to about their
There was a contractor from a friend of Lisa's that's working right now in where was that? Burke. He's Burke Construction. He's right now working in where was he?
He's working in Oakland right now, and then he's going to Nesbitt and like
Right.
contractors.
Yeah.
You know.
And then I've I'm
talked
at
to Halter Construction from Alberta.
right. So there's not much as far as quotes. I didn't want to put the cart before the horse. I had some rough ideas just over the telephone, where it was just fairly. First of all, can you do the work? I don't know whether I should get an all-around contractor or be the general myself. I'm not sure. I think at this stage of the game is if I get permission from you people to move forward, I'm going to be looking for someone that can give me do the whole shebang.
And this is what's in you already.
Yeah.
Everything.
But as far as me giving you specific names with specific quotes, it was just done verbally over the phone by me just looking through the phone book. I
and that
can't.
was with Burke Construction and Halter Construction.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It just seems like there's an urgency here that
I'm willing to step up to the plate. I'm willing to go with any kind of advice, any kind of local contractors that you might have. At the end of the day, you know what I mean? Money's to be respected too. I just don't want to throw it out there and get the first person I see. I first of all want to be able to get the approval and fulfill my obligation within the timeline to have someone that I can do it. So, I mean, to say my whole idea was to come in here and hopefully get approval and say, okay, look, you have to have something in place by such and such a time with a person that will do at least this part of the project. And then I don't know whether that person will continue on to do the rest, because it's hard to find contractors right now. I don't want to put my foot in my mouth and say one guy's going to do the whole job. But what I will do is that between whoever I get and like you say, the urgency of it, and if I have to pay a premium because of the urgency, I guess that's what has to get done, because we want to get that house up and running.
Yeah, I think my concern is, you're suggesting a date of August 1st next year, which, you've indicated you're flexible on, but you had a month since you became aware of this situation. Is that
Well,
it was 2 weeks since you wrote this letter, and you haven't contacted anyone except for 2 contractors, right?
Well,
If you walked in here with a plan, I'd have a lot more ability to feel good about this.
right. Okay, so the plan is that first of all, get approval and get a timeline. And within that timeline, I will fulfill my obligation. Because I didn't want to come in here with someone that said that will do the job, but you weren't, I mean, I wasn't, gonna be, accepted. I mean, and don't look that down as I'm not, we're not responsible people. What happens is that we're busy like everybody else, right? And all I want to do is just put myself in a position where I come here, make the presentation, and I'm not from this area, so I have to start really putting the nose to the grindstone and really getting someone in place and present that person to you and move forward. I mean, it'll be all strictly under your guidelines. I mean, if I don't, I mean, I'm stepping up for the family here. My back is against the wall. If I don't fulfill my timeline, my obligations and timeframes, the deal is off, right? And that's not going to happen because I'm putting money forward. So I'm telling you, it's going to get done. But I mean, do I have a contractor in place? Because I can't book anyone or talk to anyone really because they're too busy right now. I need to start planning for next year.
How do you know that though? You haven't talked to anyone.
Well, just generally. I mean, if we can get something, if we can get something going this year, it would be a blessing. If it's required by council to get something done this year, or else it'll get done.
Well, that's already the situation we did,
That's right.
right? Like,
Well, no, I'm not aware of this situation. I'm presenting myself forward here to step up and move forward and work within your guidelines, your regulations, timeframes, whoever I get.
Mr. Kedlick, have you done this before? Have you done renovations before?
I've done simple renovations on myself. I can.
Are you involved in any right now?
Not right now. No, I'm not.
Home or anything?
Well, I can't build. Yeah, but I can renovate a bathroom. I can do minor household stuff like that. I want to be able to be the money guy to be able to make sure that this gets done.
No?
Sure, Mr. Chairman, so I'm just thinking myself here.
Uh-huh.
So you've got a date of August 1st. If council was agreeable that you put up X number of dollars to say that it has to be 100% complete up to standards that the council's agreed upon, yourself and council, would you agree to something like that?
Absolutely. Yeah, I have no.
This is just out of my own head, so it's not a council.
No, absolutely. And that's my plan to come in here. My plan to come in here is to be able to work with council, have council work me through it. As far as me being able to supply the contractor to get the work done, I believe it can get done. And I'm willing to put the money forward to make sure it gets done in the time that you require.
Yes.
I just want to add that I've invited people before to come inside the house to see, because I have done extensive work before. It never got completed because of circumstances. But I've got new windows. I've got new floors. I have new cupboards. I have new plumbing. That was new counters. That's new gyprock. That's a new roof, even the boarding and everything else. Like, it was being staged like piece by piece until what happened. And I don't know if you know the background, or if you want to know the background of what brought me to this situation.
Well, I think there's some information that's been passed on to us about some difficulties that, of course, COVID-19 came about, et cetera.
That wasn't what it started out as. This is the owner of Kingsway Court in Brandon sold me his house with the understanding it was going to stay there. And I paid for that house. And I didn't get it for free. And it was to stay there. Then suddenly he gave notice to everybody there that it had to be gone. Now I'd already put all this into it, bring it forward. And there was a long drawn out battle that cost a lot of money for the residents in there, including myself. And it came to the conclusion in the end it had to be moved. Now I got that property with all full intention to have it done as quick as I could. And yes, COVID did come. And I'm not trying to play on your sympathy, just tell you the reality of my life. Like, there was a lot of costs. I spent a lot of money on lawyers, not a little bit, a lot. Then what happened is COVID didn't hit. Then I had some very intense medical issues. I did have one knee replacement. And then later they're waiting for the next one. COVID hit, and contractors I have approached a lot more than he said, but a lot of people. Brandon is a booming city. And I know you want the municipality probably to be booming and the town, but in Brandon, if you try to hire somebody, they want to work on new. Everybody who wants to shingle, I have a house in Brandon, they wanted $12,000 to shingle that. Because if you take the opportunity, they want the cookie cutter quick, because you can get them up fast. Now, I've also been working on property in Brandon. So it's very hard to get a contractor. And I've talked to, I know lots of them, but nobody that is available, because they have this all booked up. And, you know, a contractor will give you a date, and I'm sure you've been involved and you probably had a house and built, and people will say a date and it may be way further along. Even getting a phone call back is hard. You know, so that's my situation today. I still have some medical issues. You know, I'm hoping they get better, but you know, now I have invested lots into this property. It's not like I've got phone calls from people that said they wanted to buy it and they wanted the house and the land and get it for $5,000. Well, you all know I have a lot more than $5,000 invested, and I did pay the fine, you know, which I didn't want to have to pay it. You know, like if you don't have it done by that time, that was circumstantial. I couldn't change anything about it. I couldn't change the COVID, what's been going on in our world. And I'm just asking for some time. Peter's come alongside and, you know, wanting to help, and whatever the outcome it is. And what is your idea? If you weren't allowing it, what do I do? And how do I move? I plus paid top dollar to get that moved and make sure it was stable and the beams underneath so it wasn't dangerous. And that I know I did say that council could come over before and come and look inside the house. It's not finished.
Yeah.
But
when was it moved on to that area?
Exactly. You have that written somewhere because they've gotten letters. So
Ability to give us kind of a summary of the.
So this started when Roger was here, so 2016.
2016 or 2015, somewhere in there.
2016, I believe.
Probably
is when it,
2016. Like I-
came about, and it was, as Lisa has indicated, there was an urgency at that point, regardless of what had happened at King's Court.
That's right. Kingsway, yeah.
The urgency was that the house had to be moved. And so my recollection is Roger did his best to accommodate, got it on a council meeting as quickly as he could with respect to selling the 4 lots, so long as they were purchased in accordance with the sales policy. The sales policy gives an indication that you purchase it for, I think it was $1,500 per 25-foot lot. Requirement of purchasing at least 2 lots. In this case, there are 4. They were $1,500 a lot. And so long as the house was substantially completed in 18 months, there would be a refund of $1,100 per lot. So essentially the sale price of the lots were $400 for each 25-foot lot. And since that time, there has been no further work done on establishing the building to any permanent scenario. There have been complaints from the community, as council is aware, that have been addressed every time that they have been made aware of the fact that we're getting complaints again about unsightly, etc. Those have been addressed, but no action has been taken to secure the home to the foundation or get the required permitting from the province to install some sort of cistern and a sewer. When I brought this to council's attention, council was directed me to follow through with our solicitor to see what next steps would be. And that is what has brought us to this point, in that if action wasn't taken, and at that point we had indicated by the 10th of August, which would have given me an opportunity, had nothing been done, to have come to the August council meeting to seek direction that the solicitor take further action.
And that's where I want to come in, and I want to step up with our family to help this family, and make sure that I work within your timeline to get that house on a permanent foundation and follow all the required bylaws and fulfill my permit obligations and get it done in a timely manner.
This altar, are you planning on living there, or is this kind of a revenue
Well,
property?
we're
or
supposed
is
to be planning on living on. This was originally bought for my son to live in. And he is very skilled, with building and all these other things. But the Kingsway thing happened, and this is where we sit. And like, I did try, I've started all the stuff, all the permitting. I've gone to the right places, and I got the paperwork. I don't have the contractor, and I don't still have the contractor, because I know what's going on in the contracting world. And
we're 6 years down the road.
Yes, and I understand.
Are you living somewhere, or do you need to have this place to live? Do you need?
That's the plan, to move into it. It was a plan too for several families, but I think they've moved on. They wanted to buy lots and build homes all around, right? But there wasn't.
You're talking subdividing?
No, I'm talking about, there was other lots available in town, and you would know about that if you remember, yes. And there were several people wanting to come, and then the municipality didn't want to sell, right? The lots across, so they could put houses, because they were they wanted to use that to build their new office.
That was.
And that, so different properties were turned down, that people, no, you can't have this is planning for this. So I actually took what was available, and that is what it was available. But there was people, but that didn't happen, like those lots are still there, and so this is where I'm sitting. But I want to have that house finished and move into it. I'm living in an apartment in a revenue property, and like, I do pay my bills. I haven't been delinquent, and I have the movers costs, and I have the, I always make my taxes paid up or ahead, and I paid that other fees for whatever that internet stuff or.
So are you saying that you live in an apartment? Is it your own revenue property?
Yes.
Okay, so you own the building and you
Yes.
live in that apartment?
Yes.
And then
Yes, in Brandon.
Yes, in Brandon.
yeah, and I think she plans to move out to the country because it's better for her health.
Counselor?
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, this is a question for Peter.
Yes.
So have you guesstimated a price for this whole thing?
About 30,000.
Way too low. You're not gonna be able to do it for that.
Okay,
You gotta do, probably build up the elevation a lot. You're gonna have to put a foundation down.
okay,
You're gonna have to have a holding and a cistern.
okay. What do you,
Hydro hookups.
what exactly do you think?
My sewer tank I just put in was $56,000.
Okay, well,
That's just the tank.
I was just thinking right now of what are we talking of? You were talking of just the,
I don't know if you're doing a 4-foot crawl
The-
space for a basement or what you're doing.
well, what we're gonna do is what's required by law.
Or get an engineer.
With the development permit and the building permit, they will tell us what we need to do, and we will just do it. And again, to your answer to your question, I thought you were referring about the sewer and the water and putting the house on the foundation.
Like I just
The
drove by,
letter.
I drove by their lots, but I
The-
haven't paid attention to where the house is.
Yeah,
sitting.
well, I mean,
Does the house have to get moved before you can even do a foundation right now?
well, I'm not sure what exactly, if she wants to lift it up and put it on the foundation. Are we too close to the property line? Because there's a back lane there on that side. So we are going to, it's not what we want to do, it's what you're going to tell us to do. Because if it's a situation where that house is a little too close to that, the back lane to the south, and we're within too close, we might have to move it.
The question I had is today, do you think 30 will do it?
No, I'm not talking complete because we're not talking about the hydro. We're not talking about building the foundation. You were just saying for the, I was just in reference to the sewer and
I'm
water.
talking about all the costs to get it in place. Like,
Well, I'm not sure because I was just worried about this right now.
Okay.
And what is required will get done. And we have the financing to be able to help, and it was already predetermined that that's what we'll do. I figured it would be about for the sewer and water and putting the house on the foundation, getting ready to put the electrical and finish off the house. That's over and above the 30,000. It could be 35, it could be $40,000. But if I'm, as a family, we're gonna invest 30, well, if we have to invest 40, we'll invest 40.
And electrical, there's electricity to the property. There's a new pole there.
Yeah, still hydro cost to charge for.
Right.
installation, But,
Yeah,
Ms. Halter, Kevin, I guess we could go and we talk about this for a long time. When I'm looking at this, I'm saying, okay, what if we gave you 30 days
okay,
to come up with estimates, contractors, the development plan as to where this is going, following the guidelines of our requirements as far as setbacks go, front street and back lane, side yard relaxations, etc. Can you do it in 30 days?
yes. I guess if that's required by council,
It's something that we can present, I can
Sure.
do that, we can have a vote on it, whatever, but it's a matter of, we need to have something more substantial. What we have here, is we have a letter saying, I'll pay for it, but we
Yeah.
don't know what they're paying for. We don't know whether you have.
can you please give me 30 days to make that presentation?
It's something that as I said, in council, we can discuss that and go through that. It's one of the things that we can look at, or we can look at deposits. We can look at a number of things, but I don't have enough information here to say you guys should go ahead. I don't have, just to say that you're gonna finance it, for my own personal information, I don't think that's enough. We'd have to have a complete package.
Okay,
What it is, contractors, the estimate,
Timelines of
the
contractors.
timelines, all that kind of stuff I'd like to have in front of me,
okay,
and I think we can afford 30 days
okay.
to do
And
that.
Mr. Chairman, assurance by contractors, maybe?
Well,
Like that they are.
something written from a contractor saying, yes, I can get it done in, by August or whatever.
Okay,
We need to have this information because it's 6 years down the road.
yes, and I'm not aware of the circumstances.
And we understand there's health issues and then COVID and everything else. We're not trying to be mean.
No,
What
no.
we're trying to do is to do our job as a council and our due diligence as far as the community and the municipality.
I respect that.
So we want to do that. We want to help you, but you have to help us.
Okay, so if you give me the requirements that you expect within 30 days, I will present that to you just to show goodwill.
Well, it's not what we want you to do. It's got to be something that you have to have come up with a development plan. You have to have that plan as to what it is. You have to have the estimates for it. And it's not something that we're saying you got to do it this way. We're just saying we have got, they're all built into our bylaws.
Okay,
If you follow those bylaws and you get your contractors to come up with those values as to what you're gonna do, you may have to move that house in order to put the foundation in. I don't know. That's something the contractor's gonna, but we don't, as long as it's in the situated where it's within our guidelines, it doesn't matter. We don't have, you have to get the permits from the building permits. And you have
Okay.
to meet those requirements for occupancy.
okay,
So that's a bigger part than us.
okay.
But we need to have the council, anybody else have something to add to that?
Mr. Chairman, I think we need to include some sort of deposit if we're gonna go down this path, like.
Yeah.
And maybe we could give the 30 days without a deposit, but I think if we're going to actually extend this to next summer, I think we need to have a significant deposit put on file by Mr. Fallon.
Yeah.
That would be refundable if they complete the work as agreed, but non-refundable if they don't, because this is 6 years.
Yeah.
the municipality has been more than patient. You know,
Would you-
unfortunately, you showed up with no plan.
Well, no, I mean,
So
I
for us to
understand.
extend it again.
no, you know what, and I'm willing to work within that 30 days to get that plan here. Would you accept a $5,000 deposit to move forward?
Well, I think we can discuss that with ourselves as to when you come forward, if you can get here within 30 days with that, by that time, we can develop our strategy as
Okay.
to what we can do
Okay,
for you. So let's do it that, we'll put a resolution on the books, if you have that.
What I have got, judging by your communication here, be it resolved that council's decision with respect to the rehabilitation of the halted property in Nesbit, Manitoba be tabled to the September meeting of council to allow the applicant an opportunity to secure a contractor and provide timeline and quotes for the rehabilitation.
They'll put the development plan on there too, because we need a development plan on that.
Well, it won't be a development plan. They go through the development permit to already get the house. Where I'm going to have to do some checking is since the time that this house was moved into the municipality, council had passed a bylaw or had passed a resolution that any buildings that were moving into the municipality from another location had to undergo a home inspection because our building inspector does not inspect properties that are already constructed. She is involved when they are building from the ground up, so she has no way of knowing what's behind the walls, etc. That it meets codes. So it would probably require a home inspector to do a home inspection. We would probably also want to maybe ask our fire chief in this instance whether or not he would do an inspection as well, just from fire inspection purposes, to see that we're satisfied or the council is satisfied with his findings.
So, okay, so, Councillor, anybody want to add something to that, or?
So I guess there has to be plans developed, right? Like, I think that's what you were doing, as a development plan, but it's, you know, whether this is an engineer developing this plan or do we want that presented? I don't know how they're gonna secure a contractor without having some idea of what needs to be done.
I don't know that you get an engineer in 30 days.
Yeah.
I'd be surprised, these days. But I need to see a plan. Just to say, well, we'll do this, doesn't really help me.
okay,
I need, okay, it's gonna have crawl space, it's gonna be a 4-foot crawl space, it's gonna have this, the plumbing is gonna be kept down there, a hot water tank, or whatever the case may be. And this structure is gonna go on this with that foundation. So if maybe the contractor will do it in conjunction with the engineer, I don't know. There are some that like Keeler Homes and Brandon, I know they do that, but they have their own.
Mr. Burke does it, he has an engineer, he
Yeah,
goes
they have
to.
engineers that they
yeah.
can go to. So, Councilor McKellar.
Mr. Chairman, when Joni read that out, is there anything in there about, what Councilor McGregor said about, some kind of, securing, if this goes ahead, like, should that be listed in there? Like,
Well, we'll do it if they come forward with it, plan in 30 days. If they don't come in 30 days, then
So
we-
can I ask a question? So let's say this happens, they come with a plan and it's not done by next August 1st. What is council's action? Because I really can't see it.
Well, I think we have to cross that bridge when we get to it, I guess. That's something we've got 30 days in which to discuss that in further. If they, maybe the Ms. Walter, or Ms. Cabot can come forward with something that's gonna be desirable that we can, maybe it is September 1. I don't know. I don't know what this contractor is gonna say, but we have to make those decisions on valued information rather than to say, well, maybe this can happen, maybe that can happen. It's too difficult. So I think we go that route unless somebody has another plan.
Mr. Chairman, yeah, like, I don't think we need a deposit today. I think we do a month here without a deposit, but if we're going to move forward, I would be looking for a more substantial deposit than $5,000. I think that, something in the neighborhood of 20,000 is what I have in mind, because I think that this is being exceedingly fair. And if we find ourselves in a situation next summer where this hasn't happened again, it's going to be quite frustrating. So
and if I put down a $20,000 deposit, where I'm serious to get this done.
Okay, so somebody want to move that? Resolution, Councilor Corey, seconder. Councilor McGregor, all in favor? Thank you. 30 days to get back to the lake plan.
Okay, great. Just a final note, moving forward, since the Kabbalik family is taking responsibility on making sure this property gets done, any permits I will be getting the permits done on my name specifically. This way here, I will come in and I will get the direction that I need with the permit, and then I'll take full responsibility as each permitted is issued.
That's fair.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, I appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
Don't leave in front of your stuff there.
Exactly. Now, the discussion moving forward, we get the plan. Do I need any kind of communication as far as the agenda of a plan? Like things I need to get done, because I don't want to come here with a plan that doesn't meet your plan.
Yeah, I think the big thing is that you have to need the bylaws as far as the setbacks required. And in that regard, it has to go to your contractor engineer. And I think that's,
Yeah, so step one is I'll be asking you to provide a home inspection report
Okay,
to me prior to me issuing any kind of a development permit, so
Okay.
that I know the building as it exists right now is solid.
right.
And following my issuance of a development permit would be when you would have the opportunity to move forward to getting a building permit.
Right.
But I think before you take that step, you're going to want to make sure that you've secured a contractor. They can give you some timeline as to when they're going to do it. They can lay out some plans as to what they think is going to be required. So whether it's a 4-foot crawl space, and that has to be discussions between you and Lisa and the contractor.
Okay,
So that you can put that into a format for council at its September council meeting.
okay, great. So are you gonna write, I left you my email.
Yeah, what
So-
I will do is I will send you a sample of what we have received previously from people for housing inspection.
Okay,
So I will send you a copy of that.
Right.
And lay out what I believe you're going to need to have in place for.
yeah,
the
that's what I'm
September.
looking for. I'm looking for that guidance, because I don't want to come here and not have 3 of the 5 things that you require done, and then you guys are saying, well, look, this guy isn't
Yeah, no, I will send that off to you.
good, and then I'll, okay, thank you. Okay,
thank you.
thank you.
We should probably have a resolution that the,
Can be received.
yes.
Be it resolved that the presentation by Peter Kabbalik and Lisa Halter with respect to the Halter property located in Nesbit be received. Sorry, please move that. Councilor Hargreaves, seconder. Councilor McGregor, all in favor? Okay,
And did we vote on the tabling motion?
yes. Okay, so you're up to bat now with
I am. So communications.
it.
All right. Under the order of communications, council has received information on an advertising opportunity from Around Town newspaper. There has been communication from the Association of Manitoba Municipalities. There were 2 dated July the 15th, July the 22nd, July the 25th, the 26th, the 27th, and the 29th. There was one dated August the 2nd, the 5th, and the 9th. From the Federation of Canadian Municipalities, there was information dated July the 25th and August the 8th. There was information from GB Agencies Limited regarding electric vehicle charging. Manitoba Communities in Bloom have provided information on the Year of the Garden 2022. So I would note that they are asking for suggestions for gardens, but I also note that there is an application fee. So this information was passed along to the garden club here. Manitoba Film and Music provided information on a Manitoba feature film that they're looking for a location for. Manitoba Labor, Consumer Protection and Government Services provided some information on the CETA single point of access. Mathewson and Company has provided information on council training. Municipal Relations provided bulletin 23 with respect to CDC guidance. And I have got the actual handbook on file, but I didn't include it, seeing as we no longer have the CDC out here. And Municipal Relations Bulletin number 24 provided information on the Municipal Service Delivery Improvement Program.
Be it resolved that the above noted communications be received. Councilor Hargreaves, second Councilor McDonald. One thing I will add on to this is that one with the Manitoba film, I have talked to Mr. Gallinger and myself, and they are going to be out here with their group to look at sites for possible filming of a movie. So I'm meeting them on the 24th to produce some locations here. So interesting stuff. He's worked with other movies that have been done here, so he kind of knows the area. So that's why he selected it. So we'll see what happens. Okay, all in favor? Okay, committee reports. We'll start with Ward 3, the South Zone. Councilor Corey, a written report. Anything to add?
No.
Councilor Soyak, a written report. Anything to add? No. Ward 2 is North Zone. Councilor Hargreaves.
I attended the regular council meeting last month and the dangerous dog hearing. It's been quiet.
Councilor Hatch, you have a written report. Anything to add?
Yeah, the report's there. I did receive a call from Bill Carson, the Reeve of Cornwallis, about closing the pipe at Lake Lenny.
Was done.
Last week. Yeah, he left me a voicemail, so.
So no more water coming our way?
Apparently not.
Okay, thank you. Ward 1, the Wawanesa Zone, Councilor McDonald, you have a written report. Anything to add? Councilor McGregor, you have a written report. Anything to add?
Nothing to add.
To my report, CAO's report. Anything to add to that?
Yes, I guess further to the state of emergency with Cornwallis, as indicated by Councillor Hatch, the emergency part of it is over with. So now next steps would in fact be trying to determine what they do going forward. If this is going to be something on a more permanent basis, there will be a requirement for them to get the required permitting. Included in that would have to be approvals from landowners downstream. The suggestion had been made when I was speaking with the Reeve of Cornwallis that perhaps before any final decision is made, it would be worthwhile having a bit of a town hall meeting where interested members from both councils could attend along with affected property owners so that they could hear what would be involved in anything permanent nature before any kind of decisions were made. And the Reeve of Cornwallis seemed inclined to go that direction. So we will wait and hear back from him as to when they're ready to go forward. The other thing that I have received is a concern from a resident here with respect to people backing out over the double yellow line and whether or not the municipality was prepared to put up any kind of signage or anything. The concern seemed to be more with perhaps visitors coming to town than what it is all the rest of the time. Doing just a wee bit of research, definitely the Highway Traffic Act indicates that passing on a double yellow line is absolutely prohibited. It does allow for making left-hand turns across a double yellow line. It doesn't state whether doing that in reverse or going forward is allowed. I will have to do some follow-up, I guess, with the RCMP. My understanding is that they have ticketed people in Souris where they back across a double yellow line on a busy street. I can't find anything from the bit of time that I've had to research it with respect to backing up versus driving forward. So I will do a bit in that regard, and then if we were going to put something up, I guess it would require Darcy probably ordering some sort of signage. We could certainly do a push on our own social media. However, I'm not sure that visitors check in with our social media. So that might be an education process for residents, not so much visitors. But I will let council know what I find out in that regard.
Finance officer, anything further to report? Public Works, Darcy, you have your report. Anything to add to that?
Nothing to add, nope.
Graders working good?
Yeah,
Good.
so far.
Fire chief report is there. Be it resolved that the verbal and written reports be received. So please move that. Councilor McGregor, seconder. Councilor Corey, all in favor? Okay, unfinished business. We have the approach road. You want to give us some background on this?
I would. So following council's request at the last council meeting, I was in touch with Mr. Hamilton, and he was able to provide me with a year that he believed that the approach was moved, which was in fact 2013. It was moved at his request. I was able to find the policy that would have been in place at that time. And then, of course, the existing policy on driveway approaches, which would be that if we were widening or moving an approach, there would be a cost to it. What I can't find in the original policy was the specific standards that a road was to be built to, with respect to how we currently have it anyways, with what the base has to be, et cetera. Councillor Corey, I think you were saying that it looked like it should have been 24 feet.
That was after, yeah.
That was the more current policy. Yeah. So I don't know what council would like to do, given the policy that was in place at the time versus the policy that is currently in place, what direction it is that you would like to give.
Councilors?
Okay, well, if he okayed the approach movement at the time, and he evidently did not object to the size of the approach at the time.
I don't know that he would be there at that time, though.
He made the request.
It says right in that,
Oh, the original request?
yeah,
His name
Wasn't
was
Neil there at that time?
it said
His name was in that response we received.
in the minutes, right? Yeah, his name was in the minutes that he wanted the approach moved, so he was there.
2013. Wasn't Neil there at that time?
Well, it just said that was not from the minutes, I think it was the council meeting at that time.
Mr. Chairman, I think, the argument and what we wanted more information on was, he was saying it wasn't built to the standards of the municipality, and it doesn't appear that that's true because there was no standard in place. Right?
Certainly not that I could find in the policy that existed at that time.
And the policy now, can't use that to backdate it, so that was all I wanted to make sure of, was that we didn't have something on file saying it should have been built for this, and now we're gonna charge it for it. 'Cause that would feel unfair to me, so I think the current policy applies. Be my thought if you want to make a change.
So you want to do the resolution on that basis that because there's no defined, I don't know if you want to define from previous, but existing regulations will be followed.
I just know I've widened an approach in my yard, and I didn't expect the municipality to do it, and it was probably there for 60 years before that.
My concern.
It'd be different if we moved the approach, but at his request.
My concern is we gotta be very careful, or else we could have a lot of requests for approach widening.
We're setting precedent.
Yeah, it could bring it to a real financial mess. Start paying for coaches. Do we maintain it? Maintain our existing policy or whatever?
Okay, so what I have is be it resolved that the request to widen the existing approach from Hamilton to Road 42 North located in 36717 WPM be considered in accordance with the existing policy including all associated costs.
If you wish to move that, Councilor McGregor? Sure. Second, Councilor Hargreaves. Discussion? All in favor? Okay. Now, you want me to send it to this, don't you?
For perceived conflict, it might be just as well if you stepped away.
Yeah, I think that's what we'll find.
Okay, Madam Deputy Mayor, would you like to read the resolution?
So be it resolved that the request from Manitoba Hydro to install underground lines under 204 Commercial Street in Wawanesa, Manitoba, brackets with Royal Senior Duplex, as outlined in application number 2022 B 4154825, dated July 26, 2022, be approved. You get a motion? Councilor McGregor, a seconder. Councilor McDonald. Any discussion?
Darcy has no seen a problem.
No, they'll have to get their typical locates and it's been a little hydro.
Directional drill it under.
Yeah.
All in favor? Carried.
If we could ask Dave to return.
A lot of samples. Sure, yeah, you got it here today. Yeah.
Okay, be resolved, the authority be granted to the CAO to provide approval to liquor, gaming, and cannabis for community event status for events such as power battle and sporting tournaments taking place within the municipality of Oakland-Wawanesa, whereby if an application is received, the CAO believes requires council consideration, same shall be forwarded to the CAO prior to approval being granted.
And that should be forwarded to council.
Or to council, not CAO.
Oh, I can think of it.
So, if an application received, the CAO believes requires consideration, same shall be forwarded to the council prior to approval being granted. Correct? Okay, so please move that. Councilor McDonald, second Councilor Sweat. Discussion? All in favor? So your book box, you want to give us some background on that?
I would. So council has before it a request for an individual who would like to take responsibility for establishing a neighborhood book box. Her request is that it be located somewhere along Fourth where the businesses are. So from a council perspective, there is nothing that would prohibit something such as that. However, majority of the buildings are privately owned, and so we would have no authority to grant permission on anybody else's property, and most buildings are built basically right up to the property line. So the only property that council itself owns is the 25-foot lot up on 134 4th Street. So that would be an opportunity. But the other thing is that I was made aware that there actually is currently a book lending program through New Horizons. And so I don't know if council's suggestion might be that this person speak with the board of the community hall to see whether or not there is anything that they could do in conjunction, so that if they wanted to have an outdoor book box that is weather resistant, that she would be responsible for, that it would take them to the same location, but that would certainly be council's decision to make. Like I said, there is nothing that would prohibit such a thing. They are located in several other communities. It's a case that somebody takes responsibility for having them constructed, but also ensuring the content of what is included inside, so that it isn't on the municipality to be checking the appropriateness of any books that would be put in there for loan.
So, we wish to make a resolution there?
Mr. Chairman, I'm just wondering if possibly we could offer her some direction to maybe talk to the people of,
But I can still bring.
it's, you know, it's not the hall committee, but the seniors housing or whatever, senior, what do you call it? Whatever.
New Horizons.
New Horizons, and maybe try to coordinate something with them. I think would be a start, just a suggestion.
You're welcome, take care.
Yeah, it's an outdoor thing. I've seen it, some things on news, like in Winnipeg, they have it just on the street, they have just in front of the house. I'm not sure how water resistant they can be. You don't want book get wet.
No, and the ones that I have seen were water resistant. They had a bit of a glass front and a bit of a latch that you opened the latch so that they were somewhat weather resistant.
But they do take a little maintenance or a little. Keep them off.
Yeah, and I'm not sure liability wise, whether we would have, as it says, the kind of material that's going in there, you'd hate to see some of the stuff go in there that's, whether somebody does it as a joke or whatever, it doesn't make any, it doesn't help us at all because of the fact that we're still liable, so. Things can be done improperly. So I'm wondering if it's not some that New Horizons would be the better place.
What is the 25-foot lot? Yeah.
That's between the rock shop and the car wash. There's that lot there, 25-foot lot. It's,
Between the rock shop.
yeah. The shed there and, yeah, and that car wash. I mean, it could be used for that, I mean, it's open, it's not a case of. Just a matter of where's a better place for it, I guess. It's,
How accessible is the New Horizons? Like, how often is it open for someone who wanted to access that?
yeah, not daily.
Right.
Yeah, I think they want to do it outside anyway. So it'd be something that's outside on the.
From my understanding of the New Horizons, I believe it's Mondays and Fridays that they're typically
Yeah,
in use regularly, and other than that, I'm not sure.
other than it's locked.
Or possibly come back with a description of what they would maybe like to build or something.
Yeah, like she says that it would be on a post, right?
Mhm.
So the one that we have at the lake is built like a little house with a little shingle roof
Yeah.
and a glass front.
And those are what I have seen everywhere. So that was my interpretation of what it is that she would be wanting to build. It's just, the first thought was our property here, and we don't want people walking in on the gravel. We don't want anybody twisting an ankle or whatever, and we don't have any grass on this location. So the only other municipal property was the one on 134 Fourth. Otherwise, it would be approaching a private business, and that's when it was kind of brought to our attention that there is a bit of an indoor program already in existence. Is this something that could tie in with that? So depending what council says, what I've got right now is that be it resolved that a suggestion be made to Caitlin Reed to contact New Horizons to determine if the establishment of a neighborhood book box could be considered an extension to the existing indoor program.
Do we wish to move that? Councilor Corey, seconder, Councilor Soya. All in favor? Okay, be it resolved that the April 1st to June 30th, 2022 RCMP policing report as previously distributed be received. Please move that. Councilor Hatch, seconder, Councilor Zone. Discussion? All in favor? Be it resolved that the whole, this is point of board of revision. Is that two pieces here, one revision?
I would suspect we could do it as one
Yeah, I
resolution.
think so. Be it resolved that the whole of council be appointed to the board of revisions for 2023, and be it further resolved that the head of council will serve as the presiding officer of the board, and the chief administration officer will serve as the secretary. Please move that. Councilor Soya, seconder. Councilor Corey, discussion. Yes.
Mr. Chairman, I've already brought up with Joni, I will not be there that date, unfortunately.
Okay.
Well, her fortunately, because her plans got changed.
All in favor? Great. Okay, be it resolved that the $10,000 be expended from the building, okay.
For the
Oh,
board
wait,
revision.
Board of Revision date, I'm sorry. Be it resolved that the date for the Board of Revision shall be Tuesday, October 18, 2022, at 1:30 PM in the council chamber at the Wawanesa Municipal Office. Can you please do that? Mr. Soya, seconder. Councilor McDonald, all in favor? Okay. Be it resolved that $10,000 be expended from the building reserve to be used as a deposit for the purchase of land and building located at 120 Commercial Street in Wawanesa, Manitoba. Can I please move that? Councilor Hatch, seconded Councilor McGregor. Discussion? Yes, Councilor McGregor.
Mr. Chairman, I just brought, when I read through that, like, the fuel tank was not on there or something if we wanted to add it. I don't know if
On
this
the
is
offer, you mean?
Yes. I don't know if it needs to be on there, I just noticed it wasn't.
Yeah, so this resolution speaks to just doing the $10,000
Okay.
deposit.
Okay,
But I do appreciate the fact that you raised that. I will sit down with Mr. Klein as well to review the draft
yep,
and finalize it.
thank you.
All in favor? Be resolved that the $3,750 received from the RM of Prairie Lakes for purchase of surplus equipment be transferred to the fire equipment reserve. Please move that. Councilor Hatch, seconder. Councilor McDonald, discussion.
Yeah, what pieces of equipment are they referring to?
As council is aware, when the fire department purchased their new Jaws of Life, they had indicated that there was a municipality that was interested in purchasing the old set. And in fact, they have done so. What we didn't have included in any of our documentation was that once that funding was received, that it should in fact go back into the fire equipment reserve.
All in favor? Okay, be it resolved that in accordance with section 326 and 300 of the Municipal Act, the taxes added and canceled listings provided by the Provincial Assessment Branch as supplementary taxes and the following amounts will be approved. Taxes added, that's
$38,995.61. And taxes canceled are $14,026.33.
sorry, please move that. Councilor McDonald, seconder. Councilor McGregor, discussion? All in favor? Okay, the accessibility plan, be it resolved that the accessibility plan updated in August 2022 be adopted. Please move that. Councilor McDonald, seconder. Councilor Corey, discussion?
If I could, included in your correspondence was an indication that small municipalities needed to have updated their accessibility plans for 2022, 2023. We took a look through our plan and made revisions. The population numbers were changed, as well as the fact that we made note that with this new municipal office, we are in fact accessible. We've got the doors, we've got accessible washrooms, we've got the accessible counter out front. So not only for customer service is that appropriate, but also in the event that we ever had staffing who required it, we would now meet those requirements.
Councilor McGregor, did you have something?
I was just gonna ask Joni to
Okay,
let us know what got updated, so.
all in favor? It resolved that this meeting is now adjourned to meet again on Tuesday, September 20th, 2022 at 9 a.m. at the Municipal Office in Wawanesa. Councilor Hatch, seconder, Councilor McGregor, all in favor?